Yo, this is the Scarcity Studios YouTube channel. Please don't forget to like, comment, share and subscribe. And our sponsors are Alpha Claims and Hire Birmingham, the leading and best accident management company. Get a replacement car anywhere in 1 hour. I really appreciate you joining me today and I hope everyone's having a good weekend. And this is the latest coming from Essex today. I've recently covered a story from Essex and several incidents over the time that I've done the channel about drunken and late night fights involving young men. But today, this is heartbreaking news for the families and friends of the victims. 2 teenage boys have been found dead after suffering stab wounds in an Essex town after 8 people have been arrested on suspicion of murder. This news broke this morning and it happened in Brentwood, Essex, and they were pronounced dead at the scene. A third victim was treated for injuries. Police say they are not life-threatening or life-changing. Officers and paramedics were called to Regency Court at around 1:30 a.m. and 3 people were found to be hurt and 2 later died, which has sparked a double murder investigation. Police have said that they are working to establish how the boys died and forensic post-mortem examination will be carried out, but they believe that knives were involved. Detective Inspector Andy Clarkson from Kent and Essex Serious Crime Directorate is leading the investigation, and he said to the press that the incident has required an immediate and large-scale response, and officers and investigators have worked throughout the night to piece together what has happened in this tragic incident. Our investigations will continue throughout the day, and we understand the local community is shocked and concerned at the tragic loss of such young people. They do not believe there is a wider threat to the public, and Chief Inspector Mark Barber added they will continue to have a high visibility presence in Brentwood today and throughout the weekend, and they are acutely aware that the incident will shock everybody. There is a large police cordon in place and a massive tent, and police are asking for people to come forward who were in the area at the time. So from what we can tell from the initial statements from police and witnesses is that there was a group fight in the middle of the night, so this could have been related to a party or some other sort of event that was occurring, which is something we've seen an increase of since lockdown has eased. The youngest victim that I've covered on the channel this year was the murder of Ollie Stevens, who was only 13 years old, and 14-year-olds were actually convicted of his murder too. And the most recent case that I've covered was in Glasgow and the murder of Justin McLaughlin, who was 14 years old. And he was stabbed to death, and other teenagers have also been arrested for that murder, which again highlights a rise with very young teenagers getting involved in knife crime and violence. And this has definitely got similarities to the recent story I covered from Chelmsford in Essex of Liam Taylor. 3 people were jailed for his murder that was caught on CCTV as well. And I covered that story a matter of days ago. Meanwhile, here in Birmingham, the murder trial for the death of Keon Lincoln is currently ongoing, and 6 people are standing trial, and 2 of them are teenagers under 16 years old. And one of them is 14 years old and has been accused of firing the fatal shot that killed Keon. Kieran Donaldson, 18 years old, Tahigim Breckenridge from Borsleaf, Michael Ugog-Chukwu from Edgbaston, and a 16 and 14-year-old all deny murder. The court heard evidence that the gang took taxis after the murder, but were driving a stolen car at the time when they pulled onto the road, and all of them exited the vehicle. The attack lasted only 40 seconds, and CCTV footage shows the moment that the passenger door opens on the Ford S-Max as the vehicle is slowing down, and the 14-year-old is the first person to get out of the car, the prosecution said in court. The video then shows Keon Lincoln running away and one of the attackers chasing him holding a knife, and then smoke is seen appearing from the item that the 14-year-old boy is carrying. The alleged gunman then got a haircut the day after, the prosecution said, and at 7 p.m. Donaldson, the 18-year-old, booked a taxi, and CCTV showed Breckenbridge and Hugo getting into that taxi. They are one of many taxi journeys to consider, they said, and they used fake names and sometimes got out a short time before the destination to consider all the CCTV evidence that they may create. The oldest of the group, Donaldson, bought 13 blades in less than 3 months. The jury said that they found documentation that he'd bought 10 hunting knives, 2 survival knives and a machete. None of them were found at his home, and they believe that he supplied them on to others. There was fingerprints on the blade of one of the items, and they are Donaldson's. The attack was planned, the prosecution said, and the attackers went out together, and the 14-year-old was armed with a gun that was loaded. So this is definitely showing the change in dynamics and how younger people are getting when they become involved in things on the road. I really want to hear what people have to say in this story, and I'll definitely follow this up when the victims have been named and any progression with the story. Please don't forget to follow me online as well at social media at Scarcity Studios on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram and Twitter. And don't forget to send me stories and corrections at news@scarcitystudios.com, and I'll be back again very shortly with some more news. Peace.
Officers were on scene within 3 minutes and found 3 people had been injured during a disturbance. Sadly, despite the efforts of medics, 2 teenage boys have now died. Their families being supported by our specialist officers from Essex Police. A 3rd victim was treated for injuries, which are now confirmed as neither life-threatening or life-changing. Detectives are working to establish how the boys died, and a forensic post-mortem examination will be carried out to determine the cause of death. We have arrested 8 men on suspicion of murder. They all remain in custody at this time. This is a fast-moving investigation, and we won't be speculating on the circumstances surrounding the incident. We remain open-minded as to what has occurred, but what I can say is that investigations so far suggest that this is an isolated incident and there is no wider threat to the Brentwood community. We would like to appeal to anyone who was in the Crown Street area of Brentwood between 10 p.m. last night and 5 a.m. this morning who witnessed any suspicious behaviour between that time frame. If you did see, please come forward by calling 101 and citing incident 125 of today's date, the 24th of October, or by calling Crime Stoppers anonymously on 0800 555 111. I know this tragic incident will naturally leave many people in Brentwood shocked and concerned, but as I have said, we do not believe there to be any wider public threat. There will continue to be a highly visible police presence in the town over the coming days and as our investigation continues. Those officers are there to reassure the public over the coming days. Once again, I would appeal to anyone who's witnessed any suspicious behaviour in the Crown Street area between 10 a.m. and 5 a.m. Please come forward by calling 101 of incident 125 of today's date, or by calling Crime Stoppers anonymously on 0800 555 111. Thank you.